The NK65 is a popular board within the community for being quote-unquote affordable, and being pretty available compared to other keyboards in the hobby. As the name suggests, the NK65 is a 65% board, which means that it has some of the modifier keys in an arrow cluster, but no function row. It has an 8-degree typing angle and features a hot swap PCB, so you can put in and pull out switches as you please without requiring any soldering work. It is also VIA compatible, which is something I'll touch on later in the video. If you're a fan of RGB, I have good news. The NK65 has per-switch RGB lighting that can be customized via VIA. The Milkshake edition is a variant of the NK65 Entry Edition, but comes with both switches as well as keycaps. The keycaps provided are the popular Cat Milkshake, which was designed by BIP. The switches that come with the keyboard are NK Silk Yellow switches, which are linear switches that have a 45-gram operating force and a 63.5 bottom mount. What's nice about these switches is the fact that they come pre-looped with Crytox 205G0. The keyboard also comes with a carrying case and a cable. As you can see, the carrying case and the cable provided are different from the regular NK65s and have been recolored to match the theme of the keyboard. Opening up the case, we can see that there is a keyboard along with some replacement keycaps in case you need a replacement or prefer a cleaner black on white setup. There is a cable and a little card providing instructions just in case you want to take apart the board or customize the software inside. The link leads to a page on the Novelkeys website where there is a short video showing you a step-by-step process on how you can safely take apart the keyboard. On the backside, there's a link to VIA. On the website, there are 3 different sections, one of which helps you check whether the keyboard is compatible with VIA software. There are a ton of boards with VIA support, and it's a pretty high in demand feature, but you can always come back and check the list if you aren't sure. Clicking on the download VIA link sends you to a GitHub page. For those of you who aren't technologically inclined, make sure you download the right file. Opening up VIA, we can see that there are 3 tabs. The key tester tab is for you to make sure that all the keys on your keyboard are functional. If you're building a keyboard from scratch, this feature is super useful as you can test if your PCB works before soldering, and after soldering, testing to make sure that your soldering job was adequate. The settings tab has a couple of features I won't touch on in this video, and the configure tab allows you to remap keys, save micros, and even change the RGB lighting on your keyboard. After I unboxed the keyboard and played around with VIA, I wanted to do a sound test to see how the keyboard sounded right out of the box. Unfortunately, I'm not a very good typist, so here's a compilation of me fucking up. Oh boy, let's see. Oh, fuck. Oh boy, fuck. I hate this. Oh. God damn it, fuck. Shit. God damn it, I fucking hate this. How... What if I move it a bit though? Let's see. As you can hear from the sound test, the spacebar had an annoying ticking noise, so I decided to take apart the keyboard to show the internals and also make modifications to the stabilizers. This is one of the drawbacks to the NK65, being that the stabilizers are plate mounted rather than PCB mounted. A lot of people prefer PCB mounted stabilizers because they feel more stable and are generally more consistent and less rattly. While taking apart this case, I ran into a big issue in that the top and bottom pieces would not separate. In the Novel Keys instructional video and in a Teja type stream, they were able to just lift the top piece off the bottom piece, but for me they were stuck together. I tried to stick something in between the cracks to hopefully loosen up the two pieces, but I was unable to do so. Eventually I gave up on that and resorted to simply shaking the top piece in hopes that the bottom piece would fall out. After around 5 minutes of shaking, I was able to get the bottom piece off. I don't know if this is a common issue among all boards, but it was an issue on mine. It's not that big of a problem ultimately, unless you plan on looking at the PCB or silicone dampening foam, as most modifications to switches and stabilizers require minimal disassembly, but it was something I thought would be interesting to show. Removing the stabilizers, we can see that there is lube, but it is poorly done. Most of it isn't even on the stabilizer housing or wire, so I decided to relube the wire and housing using Krytox 205V0. I first tested the wire to make sure that it was flat by placing it on a flat surface, aka my phone. If your wire appears to be crooked, make sure you bend it straight, as you can have issues if you don't. If you have dielectric grease on hand, you can use a tube of that to lube your wire, which is much easier than using a brush and trying to apply a thick but even coating on the wire. But I don't have any of that. When trying to reassemble the stabilizer, make sure that you put the stabilizer stem back in the right direction. You'll notice that it has two sides, one with a large hole and the other one with two smaller holes. When you place the stem back into the housing, make sure that the two smaller holes face to the side where the wire goes in. For beginners, it may be a good idea to lube one side at a time so that you can keep a reference when you have to put it all back together. Also decided to band-aid mod the stabilizers to help with acoustics. It's basically exactly how it sounds. You cut a band-aid into small pieces so that you can stick them onto your plate so that the stabilizers have a tighter fit. Since this is my first time, you could see that I messed up by cutting the band-aid without making sure that I could remove the plastic, so I had to redo this several times. On a couple of occasions, the band-aid lost its stickiness, probably due to my hand sweat, so I had to cut an extra piece. After you cut out the band-aid pieces, stick them onto the plate where the top part of the stabilizers clips into. I then reassembled the keyboard and did a small type test. Overall, the NK65 Milkshake comes at an affordable price with great sound. What makes it so beginner friendly is the fact that it comes pre-assembled out of box with great keycaps and pre-looped switches. I actually did a calculation where I broke down the parts of the keyboard to calculate the value, but it's kinda long and boring, so I put it in the description below. The NK65 Milkshake was the first of the NK65 Special Edition series, and since the time I first joined the group by, Novel Keys has released a NK65 Random Frank P edition, GMK Olivia Light and Dark editions, and a GMK Awaken edition. If you want to get into the keyboard hobby or know someone who is interested, the NK65 Special Edition keyboards are a great option to purchase as a starting board, or if you don't want to spend stupid amounts of money, an endgame board.